Yo, welcome to the Monix Project. I'm your host, Monix. Before we get into today's episode, I have a very important question for all you listeners out there. Are you looking to buy, rent, maybe even sell your home or property in the Las Vegas area? Well, look no further because today we have our very first sponsor of the Monix Project, my very good friend, Kylie Elu. Not only is he a badass on the mats, but he's the realtor you need. Working with Berkshire Hathaway, he can help you find exactly what you're looking for in today's market. For any questions or inquiries, you can find him on Instagram and Facebook at Realtor Kylie Elu. Again, that's Realtor Kylie Elu. Hit him up and he'll get you right with any of your realtor needs. One more time, you can find him on Facebook and Instagram at Realtor Kylie Elu. That's spelled Kileyyellul. Again, Kileyyellul. Thank you so much for supporting the Monix Project. Now, I hope you enjoy this episode. All right, what's good? Welcome to the Monix Project. I'm your host, Monix. Today, we have a very, very special guest. On today's show, we have a very talented yet still so humble, the man, the myth, the legend, Mikey Francis.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
So happy to be here and do this with you.
Before we get into the intro, can you give out your social media so people can follow you?
Sure. Mostly on Instagram, it's Mikey, Mikeyx, Francis, Francis. And I'm on Twitch too now, doing a lot of like live DJ streams, and that's just DJ Mikey Francis.
Nice. So you're a resident DJ at Omnia and Hakkasan. Before we get into your background, how does that feel?
I mean, I'm representing Vegas. Vegas is my home. I've been here since I was 7 years old, and I've seen the city grow and change and kind of become what it is, and it's really cool to do what I love, music, to be able to make a living, represent the city, and it feels amazing.
Awesome. So you just said you were from Vegas. Where'd you come from originally before you moved here?
I was born in Montana, actually, and
Nice.
I kind of feel like I grew up there in a lot of ways because I spent all my summers in Montana. I have a lot of family out there, and whenever it would get hotter than hell out here in Vegas, we'd bounce and go to Montana. And I grew up there until I was about 7, and then we moved to Vegas,
Nice.
all alone out in the desert. We were the only ones out here. All my family's left in Montana. They're like, "What are you doing?" But no, we moved to Vegas, and we made it home. And I remember because I remember that summer. I was in first grade, and it was like 115 degrees or something. And we came from the up north where it's like cold in the summer. It's like 60 degrees. And I was just like, what did we do? No.
Was a smack in the face?
Yeah, but it was cool, man.
Did you move? What part of Vegas did you move to when you first came?
I lived out in like Henderson area.
Nice.
Yeah. So back then it was like there was nothing, man. Everything was desert. So I was like out in Henderson and like Green Valley area.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Was Sunset Station around at that time?
Not yet.
Not
but
yet.
I lived right over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think they built that. Yeah, when I was maybe in middle school or something. Can't remember exactly. But.
You're from that area, I'm assuming Green Valley?
Yep.
Nice.
Green Valley.
Nice.
Green Valley High School.
Did you play any sports while you were in Green Valley?
Yeah, oddly enough, I played tennis, and I played tennis since I was like 9 years old. My parents got me into it, and then I kind of got this little group of friends together, and then we got really good. Like I traveled around. I played like nationals. I actually won state my senior year in high school in doubles.
What?
Our team won state 4 years in a row. And so I played quite a bit. And actually, I walked on UNLV my first year.
Nice.
And then I gave it up. I started focusing on music. I said, I don't have time for this tennis thing anymore.
And that's a competitive sport, right? Like.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy hard, man, because like it's a worldwide sport, kind of like jiu-jitsu. Like it's not like baseball or football where it's mostly United States. Like tennis it's a worldwide thing. So when I walked on the team in college, it was like all foreigners.
Oh man.
A lot of them had gotten off the pro circuit and were just going to college for the education. And the NCAA rules were a little different back then. So it's definitely a highly competitive thing. I never felt like I was very good at it, but yet I worked all day and every day on it. But it was cool. I learned a lot from it. It's not a team sport, so in a lot of ways it is like Jitsu. Like it's you're in your own head, and it's a mental struggle. And that's half the battle, I would say.
Right.
At least.
I heard before from one of my friends that his kid is in tennis. Like they say, if you're not in it at a very young age, you're pretty much behind. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's the case. Most of the kids that went on to any success, I mean, I knew thousands of kids, and I think maybe like one or two became pro, and maybe one or two were in the top 100 in the world even, which I don't even think you can make a living at that point.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it is highly competitive. And yeah, most of the kids that I knew were starting at least 7, 8 years old. I started when I was like 6, I think.
Dang.
Just, for fun. And then I kind of graduated into doing tournaments, and then did state tournaments, and then we did intermountain tournaments, which were like regional essentially. And then if you qualified top like 5 or 10 in the intermountain area, you would go to nationals, get invited to national tournaments.
Dang.
Yeah, and they have like hard courts, clay courts. They'd have grass court too, I
Grass
think.
courts.
But I never played that. I never got to the invite on that one. They didn't like me enough. Just kidding. No, I wasn't good enough for that. But it was cool. Yeah, it was a good experience.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. That's crazy. I didn't even know you did tennis.
I know
like
most
that.
people don't know that about me. It's kind of like my little closet secret.
Yeah.
I'm a tennis player.
You're hidden talent.
Don't ask me to play now though.
When's the last time you picked up a racket?
Oh man, I haven't played much, to be honest. I just been doing this jiu-jitsu instead, and I mean I play like I guess pickleballs now is like the thing. So it's kind of fun. I mean the tennis community probably hate me for that, but it's fun because like I can play with my wifey and my kids, and they can keep the ball and play. It's more of a fun thing, you know.
Right.
So that's about it for that.
So you said you started focusing on music. When did you start falling in love with music?
So I knew I had a thing for music, like honestly, when I was a kid. Like I found my grandma's guitar in her basement in Montana, and like the thing was like beat out of tune, whatever, and like we found it and we were just like, all right, let's make a song. So we started plucking the strings. We didn't know how to play. It was completely out of tune. We picked up the old VHS like tape recorder or whatever, the cassette recorder back in the day, and we like made a song. So I was like, I knew it had something there. I loved it. And then I started doing piano lessons. My mom put me in that, which to be honest I hated, but I did it anyway. And then I kind of graduated to guitar naturally. That was like the thing back then, like bands and all that. And then in high school, I started a punk band. Started doing that, naturally. Started, getting into that scene, and then I really just fell in love with it, And it was like once I got into the band thing and started performing, it was just like a feeling like no other. Just being able to write music, being able to perform it for people, have fun. And then I transitioned from that. I honestly just like, I was over it. I was like, I'm selling all my equipment because I got this new thing. It's like electronic music, right? And that was when that started emerging for me in the United States, like 2007, 8. And I was just like hooked on that, I was like, this is it. So I bought synthesizers, started learning like production. Nice. I bought like some analog synths, and then I kind of graduated from that to DJing.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, man. I've been doing it for like 25 years or something now. Man. I mean, not professionally for 25 years. I had to do lots of jobs to pay the bills and stuff, but yeah, pretty much my whole life.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. So how many instruments can you play?
I mean, I've played like I did piano, I did guitar, I did bass guitar, I sang, and then started focusing on like music production, and I stopped playing like instruments in the sense of, the art of instrument recently, and started DJing more. But I guess kind of played all those.
Nice.
I don't know if you ask me to play them now, I'm not so good. You got to practice, man.
Yeah, you got to practice.
You lose your chops.
You lose it. It's crazy. Like, I picked up the guitar yesterday, and I was starting to plug, and my fingers feel raw already.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
Great.
And, like, it's funny. Like, when I was in college, so it was right when I was kind of in the punk band phase, I knew I had to go to college. My parents were, like, on me about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to figure this out. But I really wanted to do music. Like, that was my goals. And I really wanted to move to L.A. because that was, like, where everything was happening. So I said, all right, how do I figure this out? So I ended up doing jazz guitar. so I could get into the program at USC. I went to USC for a couple years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
My favorite college.
Yeah, so I remember like auditioning, and I got a little like scholarship thing and or whatever, and made it work. But yeah, I like jazz guitar, and then I got into there and saw how good they were, and I said, I don't have a chance, man. I don't have a chance in hell at this. But so then I transitioned to music business, because that was more of like, okay, I can maybe have like make a living doing this or whatever, you know.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a journey, many musical instruments along the way.
So you said you started a punk band. When did that happen?
So my best friend, who I still talk to, he started it. It was called Aging Process, and I remember we were in high school, and he lived all the way across town, and I lived in Green Valley. He was like in like Summerlin, and you know, he had this band, and like as bands break up and go through members all the time, and they had tons of different like replacement guitar players or whatever, and I was like, yo, I want to play in your band, like let me play in it. So I remember him like giving me the tapes or whatever, and I would like learn them and practice them, and he gave me a shot. He gave me my shot, and then I got in that band, and I actually did pretty, you know, it was cool. We took it through high school, we did all that stuff, and then we ended up, you know, releasing an album.
Nice.
And we played some cool shows, like we played the House of Blues once, like back in the day, and it was fun. We did a good little run with that one. Yeah.
So when you were in the band, was that the very first time you played live in front of people?
In the band?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. That was like the first time. Actually, I never forget my first show ever. It's a funny story. So it was a Wednesday night. I was 17 maybe, and
School night.
Yeah, Wednesday night, school night. And I said, hey mom and dad, I'm gonna play in my punk band at this show at the Boston bar, like 21 and up bar, right? My mom and dad were not happy. They're like, no, ain't happening, whatever. I convinced them. I said, come on, let me do it. And the loving, supporting parents that they are, they let me do it.
Nice.
So I go to this grimy like dive bar to play my first show, and we played and have fun. And I remember parking my dad's car, which I borrowed, in the back load-in area. And I got done with the show. I was all hyped. I felt like top of the world, you know. I'm playing in front of 4 people. And I got back there, and my dad's brand new SUV was gone. Someone had stole it. So imagine being a 17-year-old begging to play your first show, and then having to call them at like 11 or whatever, 11:30 on a school night. Dad, I got your car stolen.
Oh.
So that was my first one, and maybe, I don't know. It was like, this is a red flag, son. You shouldn't be doing this with your life. But no, they're loving and supporting, and they made it work. And that was the first live show experience. But aside from the unhappy ending on that one, we kept playing, kept going, and the shows got better, and learned a little bit more. Got a little bit more comfortable in front of people.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. When did you have to adjust to start playing in front of people?
Oh man, I was so scared. I remember like just being terrified the first few times. And even now, like, you know, when I'm DJing, I play some big clubs in front of
huge
thousands
crowds.
of people, right? Like, it can be nerve-wracking. I feel like now I'm comfortable, but it's scary a little bit. And it's like a mental thing, you know. It's like just do what you've been working hard at. Just go up, show up, prepare, do your homework, perform. But like, it's scary being in your head and seeing all those people sometimes. And you know, it's not, you know, stage fright is like a real thing. But it just takes a lot of time and practice, and then you get over it.
Especially the way you control the crowd, man. Seeing the videos the way you control the crowd is so crazy to me, man. Like, they're under your command. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's like practice, man. I've done it so many times, like thousands and thousands of hours of messing up a lot, of like making tweaks here and there, adjusting things, fine-tuning my music, getting better organized, like practicing, you know. It's just like anything. But I feel like I'm in a good spot right now, in a good groove, and yeah, it's going good.
Nice.
Conquered the stage fear.
Yeah. So when did you when did you start DJing, and when was like your first show?
So I was still kind of in the band thing, in my like late 20s, doing that whole scene, kind of getting introduced to electronic music, and then my wife, now at the time, like took me to EDC, which is Electric Daisy Carnival.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure everyone's heard of that by now. It's like the biggest electronic music festival there is. And that was in LA at the time at the Coliseum. And I'd never been to anything like that, or I didn't really know. Like, I knew of DJs, but I just didn't really know what to expect. And I went there, and it was just like the most incredible experience. Like, just seeing these DJs doing their thing, like all this crazy weird electronic music, and it just like sucked me in. And I was like, that moment, I was like, I want to be a DJ. And that was like 2010, 9 or 10 about, yeah. So at that moment, I was like, I want to be a DJ. I figured it out. That was my calling. And then I bought my first mixer, and I started DJing, like just trying to like throw it together, figure it out, kind of self-taught. We didn't have all the good YouTube tutorials like we got nowadays.
Right. Just look it up now.
Yeah, just trying to figure it out. And yeah, slowly but surely just started figuring out and kind of building my set and my sound, and the rest is history, I guess.
Nice. So so you taught yourself how to play or how to mix?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was kind of from a newer school generation, I guess, because I like a lot of older DJs playing vinyl, and it's like it's been around for a long time, long before I started. But the way I started, it was like just a mixer and CDJs, or even like laptop, and just experimenting around, trying to figure it out, learning tips and tricks from friends, you know, and just a lot of time working, trying things out, experimenting. Oh, this works with this. Oh, cool, I like this. Let me mix these two together, and just kind of getting comfortable with the equipment and figuring out like a sound, you know?
Right.
And then from there, you get the courage to actually try to get a gig, you know? That's a whole different ball game. But
how was your first gig as a DJ?
First gig as a DJ, I'm trying to remember. I mean, I remember it was a very slow start. Like, I would play a lot of like the grimy like dive bars and just weird fill-in slots here and there. I mean, I got my first big residency at like a gay club actually in on the Strip called Crave, and that was like the first club that actually gave me a chance to like, okay, we actually have a night here with people coming, like let's see what you got. And then that was on a Tuesday night, and that graduated, I did all right, went well, and that graduated to weekends, and then that was like pretty poppin', and then that graduated to like club gigs and other gigs, and it was kind of like a snowball effect over a long period of time.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So when did you feel you started to have the confidence to take over like you do now at a bigger club? Like, when did that transition happen for when you felt I'm a beginner to now I know my shit?
Yeah. I don't know if it was like a moment. I think it's just like it's like an inner confidence thing, you know? Like it's just, for me, everything is preparation, right? Like, it doesn't matter if there's 20 people in the room or like 10,000 people in the room. If I'm not prepared for what's to come, like I don't have confidence, you know? So it was just, again, practicing, like getting my music library, figuring out a sound, and then being at the right place at the right time to get like offered a gig or whatever. And then from there, okay, I know I can do this. Like, I know the crowd, I know what kind of music they're gonna like, I know my music's gonna work. Yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna crush it. You know, so
Nice.
it wasn't a moment exactly, but just a collection of time behind the mixer, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
So as a live performer, can you kind of explain to people that never had the feeling, the rush and the adrenaline you get from the crowd? How do you feed off of it?
Oh man, that's a hard one to put into words. It's a very organic experience. It's like being present at you know, presence is like everything, like, because every night it changes. There's always a different crowd, always a different sound going on. But like, when you have that connection and that like ultimate presence with the crowd, there's nothing like it. It's like the ultimate rush, really. And when you know you're doing good, you know, and you're like, I'm in the pocket right now, I'm in my flow state, and like I got them, and we're connecting, and nothing's being said, but it's just like this musical connection, and you can kind of control that moment. Like that's what I live for, man. I mean, that's it right there. That's it. It's the best feeling.
Yeah.
I love it.
Nothing compares to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a lot of bad gigs, man. You know, like that's the thing. Everyone thinks it's all like rainbows and sugar, but it's not. It's a lot of bad gigs. It's a lot of uncomfortability. You know, like, oh man, that did not work. Taking a little bit of risk here and there. Oh, that worked. That's cool. That's new. All right. Oh, that was a bomb. That was terrible. You know, it's a lot of like trial and error, and just building confidence, and then just being in that moment and trying to connect, throwing stuff at them. And yeah, when you do, it's good, man. When you get those really good gigs, that's the best.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So real quick before we move on to how you got into jiu-jitsu, I wanted to ask, how did you come up with this idea with the whole Twitch thing? Because I think it's genius.
Oh man, that's funny. Like, well, I have to shout out DJ Mondo, who I work with at Omnia. So when the pandemic hit, me and him and many other people, many other DJs, we lost all our work.
Right.
You know, everything was done. Clubs were shut down. And at that point, I was frustrated. I was burnt out. I'd been working 200 plus gigs a year for like 4 or 5 years, and I was just like, I almost welcomed the break. You know, obviously I wanted work, but I was just like, ugh, I don't know. And I just needed a break. And DJ Mondo kept coming at me, hey man, I got this Twitch thing. You should try it. And I'm like, I don't know. So I'd like log in and watch him, and it was this crazy like live stream thing where he was DJing, and he had all these cool visuals, and he was talking to people and connecting to people. And I was like, man, this is amazing. Like, this is really cool. So he kind of mentored me and got me into it, held my hand, so to speak. And he's been helping me along the way. And, you know, it's like a building thing. It's just in the initial phases right now, but it's a super cool creative outlet. Like,
yeah,
I got a whole stream, like a whole channel. I built all the visuals, and, you know, I got a little green screen set up in my studio, and got a microphone, and it's much different than the club thing for sure. But in a lot of ways, it's cool because you can like connect with people like one-on-one. Like it's a chat, and they're just like talking to you. It's more personal, you know. Like the club thing is amazing, but like you don't have that personal connection. You know, can't sit there and ask you, oh, how was your weekend? You know, where I can do that on Twitch.
Right.
It's cool.
And they can respond.
Yeah, it's like this dialogue, and so it creates this whole like different level of connection, with like friendship almost. And the community is amazing. I mean, I met some really cool people, and they're super supportive, and a lot of creative people too. So it's been fun. It's been a fun little thing.
That's awesome.
And I promised myself all year I would do it, like, and I kept putting it off, because I was so busy. And I just did it a couple hours here in the background, building it back, you know, just on the back burner. And then as the winter months approach and the club season, it kind of slows down, so you get a little more time. And now I've kind of gone full force on it.
Nice.
For now, at least.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's
cool
fun, man. I love it.
I think Twitch is amazing.
It's cool. Yeah, it's a really cool platform.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what made you in the music business and being so successful that what made you say, you know what, I want to learn how to choke people?
Let's get to it. I was thinking about this earlier, kind of like how I got started, and I remember I was like growing up playing sports and everything, you know, and like health is important and working out. I always did that. I got a little bored at the gym though, you know. I was like, I need something else, and I started doing Muay Thai actually at this like MMA gym maybe like 4 or 5 years ago with a friend of mine, and it was fun. I got pretty good at it. I felt like I was pretty good. Like I got the technique down. I was sparring. And then I remember always looking across the way at the jiu-jitsu guys rolling around in their pajamas, and I was trying to figure out what's going on, you know? I'm like, what's going on? I don't know. And then I'll try a class, right? So I go over there. Thinking I'm pretty tough, you know? I'm like, been doing this a while. I'm pretty good. And I just remember just getting smashed. Like I couldn't breathe. I was so uncomfortable. I was getting choked. I was getting arm-barred by just like people smaller than me. And then at that moment, I was like, I need to learn how to do this, you know? And I don't think I took a Muay Thai class after that. I
Really?
just went straight to jiu-jitsu. I was like, this is embarrassing, but I'm gonna learn how to do this right now. And then I just kind of got hooked on this idea of infinite technique and learning mixed with insane workout, mixed with just body dexterity and body science and all these crazy elements, and I was just really hooked on it at that point.
Nice. And it's funny because I feel like you can see the creativeness and the people that are artists on the mats, because like I see you even today. I see you experimenting with things and doing things. It's just so awesome how you can kind of express yourself through jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing that drew me towards it. It's an art, obviously, and maybe I think differently. I guess people have left brain, right brain, right? More analytical versus more creative. Maybe I lean towards the creative side, and that's what really drew me into it. But man, there's just infinite possibilities, right? And the more you learn, the more you realize, the less you know. You know what I mean? It's beautiful, and it's artistic expression in so many ways.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about it. And obviously, it's an amazing workout, too.
Yeah.
And it's fun checking people out.
It really is.
It's fun. Not to say that happens often. I'm still working on that, but.
No, he's just being modest. So, other than jiu-jitsu, I've also seen your photography, man. Your pictures are amazing. What made you start getting into photography?
Oh, man, that's, thank you. That's just a hobby, during the pandemic, my wife, she was really into it. She really got into, and she was doing a lot of iPhone photography, but she's super talented. And during the pandemic, when it hit, we were looking for work and trying to figure things out. And she happened to get a contract doing a lot of modeling photography stuff. So I was like, all right, well, let me help you. Let me do this. So we've invested in a camera and started getting going on it. And I tried to learn how to be a photographer essentially. And it's just a fun thing, it's another creative outlet. But I enjoy it. It's super cool. And I get to take pictures of the family and of her and whatever sparks interest to me. And I get to work with other creative people, which is fun. But I would say I'm just an amateur photographer, though.
It's still showing your creative side.
Yeah, but that's it. Any sort of creative outlet is a great thing for me, especially with everything that's going on. I think that's such a healthy outlet to have. Physical outlet, creative outlet for me, at least, yeah.
100%. So, being as big as you are in the DJ world, in the music industry beforehand, and then being a full-time father, doing jiu-jitsu, how is it finding the balance in between? Because honestly, I see your post with your son, and I'm like, man, this dude is doing crazy shows, but still making time for his family. It makes me like, you know what, I need to put in that time too. How do you find the balance?
I mean, I think we struggle as fathers always, no matter what, that we're a little bit inadequate or whatever, that we never have the time or whatever. And I try my best, I think the family thing is amazing. It's such a gift for me. It's the balance that I need. I look back at when I didn't have kids and I was like, man, I had so much free time. What did I do with my free time? I don't even want to know. Who knows? But now as a father, you just have to figure out how to manage your time better, and it's a beautiful balance, having a family, because I can go do the show thing and, do that whole thing and feel on top of the world and be in that whole scene. But then the next day I know I got to be up, taking my kids to school. And I got to be helping them succeed and be better. And then I got to make time for the wifey. And then I got to, make time for myself and do jiu-jitsu. And it's a constant, it's a struggle, man, trying to do it. But it's a grind, and it's just growth at the end of the day. It's always trying to make incremental improvements to manage your time better, to try to be a better person, to try to show up in every department that you're in, whether it be on the mats or in the clubs or as a father or as a son or whatever, you know. It's just like my goal is just try to be better every day a little bit. Try to be the best person you can be, you know, and it's never perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There's always struggle, you know, there's always ways to improve. But I mean, that relates exactly to jiu-jitsu, right?
Right.
So I guess that makes sense. But thank you for the compliment.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course. It's amazing.
yeah, being a father is amazing, but it's challenging, you know.
Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
For sure. Those kids are running me around in circles.
So, before we move on to the hot fire questions, last question, how did it feel bringing your son in to do jiu-jitsu?
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah, so he started his first week, and, you know, I wanted to make sure he wanted to do it, you know, like,
Right.
I don't want to be the dad that's, like, pushing him.
Get in there.
Get in there and, like, shut up. Just get in there and try it, you know, whatever. Like, I wanted him to make sure he wanted to do it, and so I kind of gave him a little space, and he kept asking me, Daddy, I want to do jiu-jitsu. Daddy, I want to do jiu-jitsu. Daddy, I want to do jiu-jitsu. And finally I said, all right, now I got to do it, you know. So it felt amazing. I remember that first time seeing him on the mat, seeing him in his gi, and just like he was so focused and excited, and it was a really amazing moment. It kind of changed the game for me, honestly, because before it was about me really and just like my workout and my growth. But then, like, it was a defining moment of, like, okay, this is more about him now, you know? And, like, his growth and how I can pass my knowledge to him and how I can make him a better person on and off the mats, you know?
That's awesome.
So it was cool.
And the older he
exciting.
gets, you guys can just share the journey together.
Yeah, as long as he wants to do it and he's interested, I'm here to help, you know? So hopefully he can love it as much as I do, because I just think it's so good for you, like, on and off the mats, like, in life. Especially, you know, there's so much to learn from it, that I think it's so important for him to get into it, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, it's his decision, but I can only guide him, you know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't want to be a forceful parent either.
Yeah, that's a hard thing as a parent, you know. You don't want to. There's like a fine line, because like you know sometimes it's the best thing for you, but at the same time, like, you got to respect, like, the kid being his own kid, you know what I mean? Being himself. And let him do his own thing.
Not have to follow in your dad's footsteps or so. Right. So that was a great tip, because my son's gonna be starting pretty soon. So
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Were you nervous seeing him on there?
I was so nervous. I was like, is he gonna get hurt? Is he gonna run out crying? Like, what's, you know? I didn't know what to expect. I was just having an open mind with it, and I just led on the fact that he wanted to be there. I think that was like the big thing, where I wasn't forcing him. You know, and then it worked out. So far, so good.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy it.
Awesome. All right, so now we're going to hit the segment Hot Fire Questions. These are just quick questions, and give me any answer you got. So what was your very first job?
Very first job? I was a tennis coach for little kids.
Nice.
Yeah,
How old were you?
In high school.
In high school?
Yep.
Nice. So you have any hidden talents? I know tennis might be one of those.
Hidden talents? Tennis, I'd say that would be my hidden talent, but I already kind of gave it away.
Spilled the beans?
Yeah, other than that, I don't have any other talents.
Okay. That you know of.
That I know of.
All right, I'm a huge superhero nerd. Do you have a favorite superhero?
Oh, man, Spider-Man and Miles, I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. Those are my favorite. My son, too. Just the best. Love the new movie, too. That was a good one.
I'm excited for the second. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Fire.
And even Into the Spider-Verse, too. I'm excited for the second one.
That was one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah.
The first one. So good.
So if you got to choose a superpower, what would that be?
Oh, man. I'd say flying. Flying would be amazing. I feel like that's always something I've wanted to do. Like, I always like looked at those birds, and I was like, man, I wish I could do that, you know? Just see the world from a different place and be able to do that.
Yeah, I had Dominic on episode 1. He said flying, and I said, I just want to shit on the birds that shit on me.
Yeah, I forgot about that. There's a lot of perks to flying.
Yeah.
That we forget about.
So, do you have an embarrassing story from a bomb show?
Oh man, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know if there's one in particular, but there's been so many shows where I just like wanted to crawl out of my skin because there was just like nobody there. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a me messing up on the decks or whatever, but like there's been a lot of those shows, man, of just like nobody's there. I just can't wait for it to be over kind of thing. I'm just like in my head and nervous. I guess now that I recall, I had a couple times where at the big clubs where the music stopped. And that was weird.
Oh, man.
Every time it wasn't my fault. It was like a power outage or whatever. But like the crowd will look up at you like you ruined everything. Like they went from having a good time to like wanting to put you like stone you, out in the street. Dang. But fortunately it was only like for 10 seconds or whatever. Let me figure it out. But yeah, I don't want to be put in those situations again. I don't want to think about those. Don't ask me any more of those questions.
So, do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie. I think honestly, Into the Spider-Verse is like our family favorite because it's just such a dope. Like it's got such a dope story and it's so artistic. It's like a comic come to life. Mm-hmm. That's definitely one of our favorites, I'd say.
That's a great choice.
Yeah.
All right, so if you could reboot any movie role and you got to play it, what role would that be?
If I get to reboot any movie role and I got to play it, that's a good question. Let's see. I have to go back and think. Fight Club.
Fight Club, nice.
Yeah. That was always like such a dope movie, It was such a pinnacle time and like I love like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Like that was like, dude, I want to be that guy so bad.
Everybody,
I was like in my 20s.
Everybody.
Like, yeah. I could never be him, but if I could wave my magic wand, and that would probably be it.
Nice. I like that choice. All right. Do you have a favorite submission?
Favorite submission? I like the bow and arrow choke. That thing is just nasty, and it's so fun to set up, and you can hit it from like different angles and stuff. That's a good one, and it leaves the people just helpless. Yeah, it's a fun one.
Nice, nice. I love the bow and arrow too. You're really good at it, actually. All right.
Getting there.
Do you have what's your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve? No pun intended, but I guess when my kids forget to pick up the dog poop outside and I step in it.
Oh.
Come on. I don't know how many times I have to tell you. Pick up the damn dog poop. That's a pet peeve. Does that count? I guess so.
That definitely counts. All right. If you could give your younger self any advice, what would that be?
Stick with what you're doing. I think so many times for me, like you find something you like for a little bit and then you give up. It gets hard, it gets uncomfortable. You doubt yourself, you give up. Just stick with it. If you love it, stick with it. And I think that's with anything in life. It doesn't matter if it's a sport or a profession or a passion or whatever. I think like just time will tell the story. You know what I mean? Just stick with it. And that's the advice I give to myself.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
That's great advice. And the last two is, let's see. Do you ever have a favorite quote you live by?
Favorite quote? I don't know if I have a particular quote that I live by. I think I just have like a set of philosophies, I guess, that you could say that I live by. It's like believe in yourself, never give up. Always try your hardest, always be the best person you can be every single day. So I don't know if that's a particular quote, but I just have like a set of philosophies or guidelines that I like strive to adhere to every day.
That counts.
Yeah, that counts.
That counts.
Somebody said it. Somewhere along the way, somebody said it.
Yeah, so it had to be.
I want to give him credit. So if you're out there,
that's for you.
You get credit. That's for you.
And if you think of the word nostalgia, what comes to your mind first?
Montana. Growing up as a kid, I only spent my summers there, but I just remember just being out there on the mountain with my family and just soaking up the sun and climbing and being out in the woods and all that. That's nostalgia for me. It's those magical like childhood memories that you actually remember. Yeah, because really I only spent a few weeks out of the year there, but it was like that's what really sticks with me as my childhood. So that's the nostalgia, finding that it's like my happy place, you know.
Nice. You guys still go out there?
Yeah, we go every summer.
Nice.
So I'm trying to keep the tradition alive. And it's funny because we were just talking with my kids about it today, and they're like, I want to go to Montana. And I felt like a proud dad moment. I was like, all right, I'm passing on the torch, like, to this amazing place. And yeah, we try to go there, you know, and eventually we'd like to get out there, you know, when this career comes to an end, or if it does. But in the meantime, we just love to visit. Yeah.
Nice.
It's a good spot.
Nice. Well, thank you for coming on. That's going to conclude our segments here.
Thank you so much.
First, before we end off, can you give out your social medias and Twitch one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram. It's at Mikey, Mikey X Francis, Francis. And then, yeah, Twitch. My Twitch channel is at DJ Mikey Francis. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me on. I had such a fun time. It was my first podcast ever.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. All right.
Appreciate you.
Well, thank you for coming on. This has been the Monix Project, and we out. Peace.
Peace.